This video contains spoilers for Sonic Frontiers. They did it, guys! The Sonic cycle is broken! We got a decent Sonic game again, which means my Sonic obsession is back and I'm about to make it everyone's problem. Okay, but in all seriousness, it's been 5 years already since I made that Sonic Forces story video, which is my first currently public video on the channel. We don't talk about the unlisted ones. So I thought it would be a fun idea to just talk about Frontiers' story as kind of an anniversary thing. Now, if you're expecting a full gameplay review or something, you're watching the wrong video. This is not that kind of channel. I might talk about it a little bit if I think it's relevant, but that's about where it stops. This video is just me rambling about the funny blue hedgehog because I don't know any other Sonic fans and I think I might explode if I don't talk about this. I want to talk about the characters first before moving on to the story because I think the characters is where the game shines the most. God, I can't believe how much better this game is when it comes to character interactions. I'm just gonna talk about each one individually to try and keep this video a bit more structured. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care much for Amy. Never have and probably never will, so I don't have a whole lot to say about her. I'm just glad they didn't make her an annoying fangirl again. I know these cutscenes definitely, gave Son-Amy shippers a lot of ammo, but I've just never seen them that way. No hate to the Son-Amy shippers out there, of course. I'm honestly more of a fan of the aromantic Sonic headcanons, with, certain exceptions. Now, Knuckles. Knuckles is the one where it gets really good. How long has it been since they actually remembered that Knuckles was supposed to be guarding the Master Emerald? It's never personally bothered me too much, but it's still nice that they acknowledged it. The banter between him and Sonic was also really enjoyable. The casual rivalry, but also the clear friendship between them was great. But the main reason I really like Knuckles here is his realization that the Ancients were in a very similar situation to the Echidna tribe, or even that the Ancients might be related to them. Man, when the ruins were being attacked and he was like, I can't lose this because it might be one of the few things left that's related to his ancestors was honestly so fucking heartbreaking. And their talk afterwards where they actually show Knuckles is struggling with the fact that he's the last one of his entire civilization was just, oh man, it's so nice to see Knuckles as something other than tough guy. Next is Tails. While I enjoyed most of the interactions between Sonic and Knuckles more than the one with Tails, Frontiers retroactively fixed one of the biggest mistakes of Sonic Forces, and they fixed it in a way that's actually really heartwarming. Sonic telling Tails that it's okay to make mistakes and still need help because that's just how life is. I just love it so much. Now, obviously, this doesn't make Tails' portrayal in Forces good, but the fact that they acknowledged it at all is just really good writing in my opinion. Now, what about Sonic himself? Now, I know I've made jokes, half jokes to be honest, about wanting to see Sonic suffer in this game because I was promised torture in Forces and that didn't go anywhere, but my god, they really went all the way, didn't they? My boy gets chucked through 2 layers of solid rock like it's nothing. He gets eaten by a Titan in one of the game over animations. For fuck's sake, his idle animation just gets progressively worse to the point where he's literally doubling over in pain. And all the while he's just, Sonic, are you okay? Now this isn't about me. I'm not kidding. I'm starting to get worried about him. For someone with such a big ego, he sure does love to put his own feelings and physical health beneath that of others. I mean, I know Sega has the whole Sonic can't cry ever rule, but I would honestly love it if they explored this more in future games. Other than that, this portrayal of Sonic was such a breath of fresh air. He's still a little snarky and jokes around, but he knows when he needs to treat a situation seriously. Hey Dash, what about Sage and Eggman? Oh my god, he considers her his daughter and she called him father and her and Metal Sonic are siblings. He respects her pronouns. I love it. It's so fucking wholesome. Eggman confirmed. Poor little Meow Meow. Ah! Okay, in all seriousness, I do really like this father-daughter relationship they got going on. Eggman already occasionally had something similar going on with Metal Sonic in the comics, so I don't find it that unbelievable that he would grow attached to another robot or AI he made. And the fact that in the secret after credits hard mode scene he seemingly managed to bring Sage back makes me really curious if Sonic Team is planning to use her in future games, or if they will at least acknowledge her. Now for the story itself, like I said before, I think the part where the game shines the most is the character interactions, but the story itself is still interesting, especially considering all the huge lore implications. Like, the Chaos Emeralds are now confirmed to have come from a whole different planet. It seems that the Master Emeralds and the Chaos Emeralds were originally not related, as the Master Emerald was on Earth before the Ancients got there. And Chaos is related to the Ancients? Now, I'm not sure if this is meant to retcon the fact that Chaos was a mutated Chao, or if this implies that the Chao are also related to the Ancients. It wouldn't surprise me considering they do have similarities with the Coco. Also, the Supersonic Titan fights are just plain epic. I still can't get over the third Titan where Sonic grabs its fucking giant-ass sword and slices the bitch in half. It's so fucking over-the-top anime-esque, all while this 2009 AMV song is playing in the background. I love it. I do have a few small complaints about the story though. They're nowhere near as serious as the problems I had with Forces, but I still wanted to bring them up. One of them is more of a game design complaint, but environmental storytelling is still storytelling, so I'ma talk about it anyway. I think they could have made the world feel a little bit more post-apocalyptic. Like, obviously they have ruins scattered across the map, but it never really felt like a place that people actually used to live, or even that it was once a full-on war zone. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that most of the scaffolding that Sonic can climb and run on is just random pieces floating in the sky, but it just doesn't work well with the vibes. Another thing that I thought could have been handled better is kinda similar to my complaints from Forces actually. It's the cyber corruption that Sonic suffers from for a majority of the game. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge step up from Forces, because unlike Forces, they actually allow you to see Sonic suffering and struggling, as opposed to him just jokingly shrugging off 6 months of imprisonment, even if he wasn't actually tortured. I just think that it was solved a little too fast. He just kind of gets corrupted and incapacitated, but then it's fixed immediately afterwards. Now, I'm just once again going back to my idea from the Forces video, but I think it would have been so much cooler if this malicious force or cyber corruption or whatever you want to call it actually took control over Sonic's body and you would have to fight him. They just keep setting things up for an epic battle against a mind-controlled Sonic, but they never have the balls to actually do it, and it's killing me! And now, I really need to talk about the ending because I've heard some mixed reactions about it. I've heard some people say that they thought it was anticlimactic, and I've heard other people say that they absolutely hate the ending. I'm a little mixed on it. I can totally see why people would have a problem with it. After fighting a bunch of super epic Supersonic Titan battles, playing a game of Discount Toho is definitely a downgrade. I don't hate it, and I think the rest of the boss battles more than make up for it, but it could have been better. Oh, and apparently you have to play it on hard mode to even be able to fight this boss from what I've been told. Speaking of the final boss, Hellstar Ramina, what are you doing here? I feel like the main villain is simultaneously well built up and not built up enough. Like, it's really cool to see how it completely destroyed the Ancients' planet and somehow followed them to Mobius. Can I still call their planet Mobius? Anyway, I think the end had the potential to be a really interesting villain. They could have really leaned into that cosmic horror type of vibe, kind of like Kirby, but the fact that it can talk and the reveal that it was the voice that was guiding Sonic majorly undercut the horror that I think they were going for. Like, yeah, you could see it coming from a mile away, and Sage was obviously hinting at the voice being the bad guy, but she mentioned it so little and she was being so cryptic about it that it still felt like it came out of nowhere. Once again, if they linked Sonic's cyber corruption to this mysterious entity, they could have really had something there. I actually thought that's what they were going for because I got some slightly unsettling vibes from some of Sonic's smiles throughout the game, so I really thought that was hinting at something. But no, at least it gives me good fanfic ammo. Lastly, I want to talk about the implications for future games, because throughout the game, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails all tell Sonic that they might want to head out on their own for a while, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if it's actually something they plan to carry on into future games, but I think it would be cool if they did. I know a lot of people have complained about Sonic's friends often being there for no real reason and not helping much. Either this could mean Sonic going off on adventures solo, or maybe interacting with other side characters more, or even a solo game for Knuckles, Amy, or Tails. Coming 2024, Tails Sky Patrol 2 Electric Boogaloo, fuck you! So overall, I think the writing for Frontiers was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, even despite some of its flaws and pacing issues. I'm praying that they can keep this kind of writing going in future games. This could potentially be the turning point for Sonic being considered good again. But anyway, what do you guys think about Frontier's story? Did you like it, hate it, or do you have any remarks about the story that I didn't bring up? Feel free to tell me in the comments, I'd love to hear them.